Hi, love Dr. Nikki from Aranum.com here. I hope you're having a lovely evening, morning, or afternoon. I thought I've had so many people ask about my story and all my gifts and that kind of stuff, so I thought I'd make a quick video and tell people a little bit about me. I was born with my fingers and toes webbed together and a flap of skin over my face. That's called a cowl. In the ancient Celtic belief system, someone born with a cowl was thought to be able to see beyond the veil. They cut my fingers apart, my toes are still webbed, and by the time I was 3 years old, I knew there were things that I knew that I couldn't tell to other people, because if I said something to them, they just got all weirded out about it. Oh no, how did you know? And then by the time I was 5, it was kind of a game I played with friends and family. At 13, I went down in Anchorage, Alaska, and bought my first deck of tarot cards. This here deck of Rider-Waite, right here. It took me almost 3 months and $90 to get the deck, but I finally did, and I started doing my first professional tarot readings at the age of 13. That's also the age I left my parents' home. My father had died earlier, my mom had remarried, and things weren't the best. At 16, I had my first near-death experience. I was in a 75 Ford Ranger XLT pickup truck with a Northland package, and the extra 8 inches the Northland package gave you saved our lives. And we hit an International Lodestar 4300, grossing out at 80,000 pounds. To make that a little shorter, I was in a pickup truck that hit a semi head-on. And we were coming from Glen Ellen, Alaska, heading back towards Anchorage, and we were coming down the side of a mountain called Sheep Mountain. We came around the outside curve. The driver of our truck slammed on the brakes, let go of the wheel. The truck was pulling the grade coming up the hill. We slid over in front of him, and boom, boom, boom. We hit 3 times before we came to a final stop. I did not pass out during the accident. I don't know what happened with each time we hit and each collision and where each injury came from. And the third time we hit, when my body hit apex of being tossed forward with the force of the contact, it was like my spirit, when my body hit where the windshield was, it was like my spirit kept going and my body stayed there. And I didn't care what happened to what fell back in the truck. That didn't matter to me anymore. It was just an old house that I didn't have any further use for. I can't really say it felt like a tunnel, but I did see a lot of swirling, soft, pearlescent colors, like when you see light shining through fog. And then I looked up ahead, and of course there was the bright light, and between me and the bright light there were a bunch of silhouettes. And as soon as I recognized one of the silhouettes as being my dad, who had died a couple years earlier, I was kind of like I was fast-forwarded up to and in front of him, and I was talking to him. And we talked for a couple minutes, but felt like a couple minutes to me. And he grabbed me on the shoulders and he turned me around and put his hands on the shoulder blades and said, "Sorry, Gink, you gotta go back. There's work for you to do." And he gave me a push. The next thing I remember, I wake up, I'm in some kind of moving vehicle. I'm laying back on what feels like a bed, and there's some guy on top of me pounding me on the chest saying, "Not on my watch!" We have been fortunate enough to have a doctor and nurse who had just finished their training. It had been paid for by the state of Alaska, and they were on their way up to Alaska to do their time in Alaska, 4 years in the bush, for paying for their education. And we were their first patients. They hauled us down to Palmer Hospital. It took me almost 2 years to get over the injuries. I shoved the front of my jawbone back far enough to break the hyoid bone. I had to have a double bowel resection, several broken bones. They had to rebuild a lot of my face. It took about 2 years to put it back together. Funny thing about that is, my dad was a trucker. So, figure that one out, right? Then fast forward another couple years, I'm 18 years old, and I'm completely healed from that accident. Barely, but I am completely healed from the semi-accident. And I'm cruising around with a friend in his Piper Cub aircraft. Well, it's actually his dad's plane. And we kind of had a hard landing onto the side of a mountain. Now, the hard landing is a technical FAA term. It truly is. What it means is you slammed your plane into the side of the mountain or into the dirt. Yeah, you landed it someplace it shouldn't have landed. And he didn't make it through the night. The next morning when the evac helicopter got there, They lost me on the way. And they say I was gone about 10 to 12 minutes there. That time I had again the crossing over experience. I didn't speak to my dad. It was kind of like I saw Dad, but I didn't really talk to Dad. But I did talk to my grandfather who had passed and a couple of friends who had passed before that. And then I was done with my near-death experiences. But fast forward to March of 1998, I had the honor of helping my mom with her last battle against cancer in the bush in Alaska, and I do mean the bush. Go down to the lake, use the auger to aug a hole in the ice to get the water to hull up the house to boil to clean the sheets with. Yeah, the bush. And she passed away on the first day of March, or the 21st day of March, the first day of spring in 1998. And on that day, she joined my dad and my head as my spirit guides. So essentially I have my parents as my spirit guides. Want to talk about being held to a high standard, right? My gosh, nobody expects more out of you than your parents. At least mine were that way. But that's pretty much my story physically. Educationally, like I said, I started reading tarot at 13. I'm an eclectic and primarily a self-taught. However, I've done enough conferences and courses and classes and attended seminaries so that I end up with 2 doctorate degrees. I do have doctorate degrees in divinity and theology. And I've gone back to school to, and those are from seminary, and I've gone back to school. I'm a full-time college student in a creative writing course at Southern New Hampshire University. I hope you'll stop by and see me at Orunum. I'd love to talk to you more about my gifts and abilities. Oh, by the way, I have 54 decks of tarot cards. I can do your tarot. I can do your oracle cards. I can do your plain cartomancy using a plain regular deck of cards. I can use pendulums, runes, stones, crystals, rocks, feathers. I do tea leaves. I can do the bumps on your head, the irises of your eyes, the bumps on your tongue, your palms, your fingers, your fingertips, the veins on your legs, the whorls on your feet. I've been doing this for over 40 years, and I've made it my life's passion to study it. I also do dream interpretation. I do astrology, both Western and Eastern. And let's see what else. Oh, I'm a medium, and I'm also a clairvoyant, clairsentient, and clairaudient. Now, the clairvoyance, clairsentience, and clairaudience, that's what I was born with. I knew things, saw things, and heard things. And that's where my primary gifts lie. My favorite type of reading to do, honestly, I like doing tarot readings. I think they give my clients something to see and be able to be validated that what I'm telling them isn't just being pulled out of whole cloth, so to speak. But like I said, I do hope you'll stop by Orunum.com and look me up. I'm Love Dr. Nikki, and I'd love to talk to you more and hear your story too. I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.